Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurul Hidayah binti Azhan. Today I will present about Chapter 1, 1.1, Background of the Study, 1.1.1, Workload, 1.3, Research Objective, 1.4, Research Question, and 1.7, Definition of Term.
1.1 Background of Study.
Back to 1.1, Background of the Study. Workplace stress is dangerous in terms of physical and emotional reaction that happens when there is a bad match between work. Stress is not only linked to mental or internal capacity, the state of mind, but it also affects the action of employees. Goran, Reuters, and Wilderum, 2012. Many factors such as workload, job insecurity, poor communication, work-life balance, lack of clarity and growth in the role, poor interpersonal relationship, and unattainable goals are major source of job stress. Sharma and Singh, 2016. 1.1.1 Workload. And Krishnan, 2015, stated, overworkload may create job stress in the organization. Workload is one of the major factors that influence the productivity and performance of the employees. Work overload is extremely high workload with unrealistic deadline that makes employees feel rushed and under pressure to accomplish the job. Work overload is a more factor than normal work. Some employee being loaded with so much work and if they cannot accomplish it within allocated time, it can lead to stress.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Hawiliani binti Zainuddin. So I will talk about second IV on our research group. We found that role of conflict is one of the common factors of stress among Malaysian employees. According to Nicholas 2007, conflict of role is an incongruity of role expectation in which activities and the behavior of the employees must be in accordance with that job description and functioning of employees in carrying out their tasks. However, there are 4 types of role of conflict. First is person role conflict that arise when position expectation of others are inconsistent with the employee's personal orientation. 2. Intersender conflict, where expectations obtained from 2 separate individuals are inconsistent. 3. Inter-role conflicts that occurs when employees are required to perform many roles at one time and the roles are incongruent and incompatible. 4. Intrasender conflict, where employees' resources and capabilities conflict with the roles. So, according to the Gilbo S, rolling stressor can impact work efficiency. In other words, switching of the desire to work has been proved by theories and empirical studies which is negatively dispute the position of job success effect. Furthermore, according to the ZO 2010, role conflict occurs when the superiors, bosses, subordinates have made more demands on the employee. This stress involves critical thinking and decision making, which more prevalent in occupation that lack specific or vague definitions. In other hand, when people come to a place to live somewhere, their risks result in role conflict through demands and those result in experiencing stress on role. Last but not least, second IV can lead the conflict of position in relation to workers in the workplace occurs when workers meet standards well away from the manager's responsibilities.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mad Hafiz bin Ma'amur. I would like to present about my topic 1.13 Role Ambiguity and 1.5 Significance of these studies. The definition of role ambiguity, first taken from Ladany and Friedlander 2016. It occurs when a worker is unclear, unsure, or confused about their supervisor aspect. The second taken from Oak and Friedlander 1992. It is a lack of clarity regarding the expectation for individual role. In addition, taken from Carl Burst and Forgatti 2005, the role ambiguity states that academic research focuses on role conflict, role ambiguity, and role overload as causes of burnout. Taken from Fogatti et al. 2000 and Murtiasri and Ghazali 2006 found positive effect on role on conflict, role ambiguity, and role overload is burnout. Moreover, the role ambiguity arises when the individual do not have clear authority or knowledge about how to do their assigned work. Taken from Idris 2011. Then, the lack of clarity occurs when the role expectations are not clearly understood and employees are not sure what to do. Taken from Robbins and Judge 2008. Furthermore, the role ambiguity result is supported with previous study by Ronestadt and Scholl-Holt 2011, in which for trainee counselors they have to deal with the ambiguity of role. They have to learn new information and skills, work with client, and then it need to adapt to multiple sources of influences or information to develop self-empathy as individual and professional and generally enhance their awareness of human complexity. Lastly, taken from Karasek Jr. 1979, Birds and Bogart 1985 stated that the role ambiguity is another factor that leads to job stress. Thus, it occurs when the expectation, objective responsibilities have not been clearly designed to employee. Lastly, taken from Malik 2011, stated that the employees become ambivalent to predict their supervisor's reaction to their task as success or as failure.
1.2. Problem statement.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Zuhaida binti Zainal. Okay, today I would like to present on my parts from chapter 1, which are 1.2 problem statements and 1.6 limitation of study. For problem statements, according to Matagi Vijayan 2017, the main cause of low productivity in every organization appears to be stress at the workplace. Muhammad Ehsan and Kishwa Ali 2019 reported that stress can contribute to lower organizational performance, lower overall performance of the employees, high staff turnover, and absence due to health problem. According to E.B. Marisa, cited by Azizi Yahya, Nordin Yahya, Farhana Ahmad, Abdul Talib Bon, and Zurihan Zakaria 2010, some people use the term stress to refer to a bad boss or an unpleasant situation. According to Colligan and Higgins, cited by Amir Darus, Faiz Ahmad, Alia Roslan, and Muhammad Nizam Jalil 2013, distress could reduce productivity and affect welfare. Sai Mei Ling and Muhammad Awais Pati 2014 reported that stress leads to low productivity, increased absenteeism, and collection of other employee problems such as alcoholism, drug abuse, hypertension, and many cardiovascular problems for employees.
1.3. Research objectives.
1.3 Research objective. RO1 to investigate relationship between workloads and stress. RO2 to investigate the relationship between role conflicts and stress. RO3 to investigate the relationship between role ambiguity and stress. RO4 to determine which factor most influence stress.
1.4. Research questions.
Research question 1.4 Research questions. RQ1 is the relationship between workload and stress. RQ2 is the relationship between role conflict and stress. RQ3 is the relationship between role ambiguity and stress. RQ4, which factor most influence stress?
1.5. Significant of study.
This study is conducted in order to have better understanding on the increase of job stress among Malaysian workers. For our country and the government, it is very critical and many cases reported of violation of the employee due to job stress. Moreover, this case taking over by Ministry of Human Resources, it is to protect and justify the employee. For the organization, the significance for the study are it is additional information regarding the job stress and the variable occurs to employee in the working place or area. For employee, it is a good information related job stress. It is very useful to them to manage diligently. Then it is a lesson which is very near to their daily tasks. For individual, this significant is very important because it will open their eyes broader about the job stress. Then he will know how to deal if facing similar situation of job stress.
1.6. Limitation of study.
Okay, for limitation of study, we have been identified some limitation that can be occurred in order to complete our research. The first difficulty that we have found is we are not allowed to have a face-to-face discussion since Malaysia is under movement control order due to COVID-19. We might face communication breakdown among group members and hardly to get clear information from each other. In addition, we are using online discussion method. It's quite costly for us. Not all of us have an internet connection at home. Some of us need to buy an additional mobile internet just to make sure that they can take part in the online group discussion. Besides that, we also need to spend money on printing the journals and articles related to our research. Okay, other than these two difficulties, we may also have an issue on network. Some of us having poor internet connection at home. It can cause the delay of the progress to finish the research. Okay, the last difficulty is we might have limited access to data. It is quite complicated for us to choose the method of data collection that's suitable with current situation.
1.7. Definition of terms.
1.7 Definition of terms. 1.1 1.7.1 Stress. Based on the study being done by Double N and Supriya MV 2011, stress refers to the state perceived conflict between demand and resources in our life. 1.7.2 Workload. According to Catherine, Stephen, Author, and Lana 2010, at simplified level, workload can be defined as the cost of accomplishing a task for a human operator. 1.7.2 Rule conflict. Rosen et al. 2010 stated that rule conflict refer to incompatible requirement and expectation that employee have received from their supervisor or co-worker. Rule ambiguity. 1.7.4 Rule ambiguity. Rule ambiguity as defined refer to the lack of enough data and information that deal about power and authority as well as the duties to be performed by employees reported by Kazmi R et al. 2018.
2.1. The relationship between work overload and stress.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I'm Nur Hidayah binti Mihai. Now I will explain about literature review chapter 2. For the first one, 2.1 is the relationship between work overload and stress. First, according to author Muhammad Awang Idris, Maureen F. Dollar, Anthony H. Wilfield, 2010 find the results show that Malaysian employees use both individual and organizational strategies to manage stress. They mainly focus on individual strategies rather than organizational intervention. So they found the relationship between work overload and stress. Next, according to the author Muhammad Sultan, Sita Luisa Ekotama Putra Saratian 2020 showed that the workload have a positive and significant effect on work stress. So Newton said that workload that is too much can cause tension in a person, causing stress. This is caused by the level of expertise that is demand too high speed work, and so on. So not only that, relationship between work overload and stress at workplace found in journal by Amanpreet Kaur, Sidhu Raman Kumar 2020. The result provided a significant relationship between job stress and health of employees. While it is recognized that workload, working environment, concentration, positivity, and future perspective were the important sources of job stress. Among them, workload was the most contribute factor for the job stress. Next, according to author Razak Muhammad Idham Mat Nur Hikmat Rizwan Ali, they found relationship between workload and stress. Workload refer to intensity of job assignment. It is the source of mental stress for employee. Also, workload and stress issue arising day by day, which require thorough studies to resolve the issue. Besides that, an article by Mantangi Vijayan 2017, there is significant difference between stress-related factors like workload, job security, and shift work. Male respondents are more concerned about job security and shift work, while married respondents are more concerned about job security. So, based on the literature review, it can be concluded that workload give a higher impact to stress in workplace. All the researchers have developed one hypothesis, which is there is relationship between workload influence stress at workplace.
2.2. The relationship between role conflict and stress.
Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. My name is Hajar Hafiza binti Muhammad Nazali with matrix number 2016295006, and today I would like to explain about chapter 2, literature review, and subtopic 2.2, which is relationship between role conflict and stress. According to Hamwi 2011, role conflict take place when an employee receives two different conflicting sets of authority figures in a work setting. Workload, interpersonal relationship, and role conflict are among the factors that influence work stress at the workplace. And the result shows that role conflict was positive relationship with work stress among the expatriates and Malaysian GLCs. Moreover, stress among the manager show that most of them are working with different organizations. It can be seen 80% of managers not fully utilize their potential. For example, work stress among Pakistani managers. This is a study by Sai Mei Ling and Muhammad Awais Bati in 2014. Besides, Ahmad Nur Azam Rizwan 2017 states that if role conflict improve, job performance will be increased too. According to Nurul Izaili alias Nurul Suhaida Sehat, Rozana Osman Najiha Hanisa, and Wei Lun Ki in 2019 analyzed the study revealed three predictors of job stress, namely workload, role ambiguity, and role conflict positively influence job stress. The conclusion, role conflict gives a high impact to the stress in the workplace.
2.3. The relationship between role ambiguity and stress.
Back to me, Nur Hidayah, and I will explain 2.3, relationship between role ambiguity and stress. Okay, according to author Muhammad Ehsan Kishwar Ali 2019, they found relationship between role ambiguity and stress. Malik 2011 stated that the employees become ambivalent to predict their supervisor's reactions to their tasks as a success or failure. Next, founded in article by Azizi Yahya, Nordin Yahya and Farhana Ahmad. They found relationship between role ambiguity and stress. According to Stephen B. Donovan, an important criterion related to occupational stress is role ambiguity and time pressure. When an employee becomes curiosity with they are responsible for their work, it will create stress among them. Besides that, by Nurul Izali alias Nurul Suhaida Sihat, Rosanna Osman, they found relationship between role ambiguity and stress. Leaders to conduct an effective job analysis for all positions that exist in the organization will help the employees to clearly understand their job description, which is tasks, duties, and responsibility. Next, founded in 2011 by Muhammad Kamil Idris, Department of Management and Marketing, University Putra Malaysia, role ambiguity characterized by unclear goal and objective, unclear expectations, and uncertainties with the amount of authority seem detrimental to personal functioning as an academic. So Thus, in summary, we examine that most influence stress at workplace is the work overload, role conflict, and role ambiguity. All the hypothesis is the positive for these three relationships. So these stress factors come from within organizations. Group that interact with employees and employees themselves because stress is a problem. So everyone reacts differently. Managers themselves cannot ignore the employees' stress, but good management is in their own right to find a solution to those pressure or to reduce them. When the manager has a solution to all problems related to the employee's stress can be reduced and they also can develop a good work ethic. Stresses related to the organization itself include workload, role conflict, and role ambiguity.
2.4. Underpinning theory.
Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. My name is Muhammad Indra Helmi bin Muhammad Muhyiddin, matric number 2016884452. Today I will explain about subtopic 2.4, underpinning theory. International theories of stress focus on the structural characteristic of persons' interaction with their working environment. The person's environment fit theory describes that the stress can arise due to the lack of fit between an individual's skills, attitude, resources, and ability on demand on work environment. The job demand control model describes that employees who have work overloaded may lead to stress. This happens because they cannot fit with high job demand and time pressure.
Okay, figure 1. A model of stress at work. Sources of stress at work, which is instincting to job, work overload and time pressure. Role in organization, which is role ambiguity, role conflict, responsibility for people, and then career development, over promotion, under promotion, lack of job security. Relationship at work, poor relations with boss, subordinate and colleague. Organizational structure and climate, little or no participation in decision, restriction on behavior. And then the individual characteristic, the individual, which is level of anxiety, level of neuroticism, tolerance for ambiguity, type A behavioral pattern, extra organizational, which is family problem, life crisis. Symptoms of occupational ill health: blood pressure, cholesterol, heart rate, smoking, depressive mood, escapist drinking, job dissatisfaction, reduced aspiration, and etc. For disease, coronary heart disease, and then The last one, mental ill health.
2.5. Theoretical framework.
Hi, I'm Nurul Nadia binti Ahmad. I will present chapter 2. 2.5, there is theoretical framework, and 2.6, conceptual framework. Let's check it out. Theoretical framework is the structure that can hold or support a theory of a research study. The theoretical framework introduces and describe the theory that explain why the research problem under study exists. In our research, it is relationship between stress factor and stress at workplace. As we can see here, workload, leadership, higher target, and salary is the reason that cause of stress. For theoretical framework 2, in our research, relationship between environment working factor between stress at workplace show that workload, role conflict, role ambiguity that can relate to the stress. To be concluded, for theoretical framework, it is influenced by the workload, leadership, higher target and compensations or salary that can cause stress at the workplace. It is recognized that workload, working environment, concentration, positivity, and future perspective were the important source of the job stress. Among them, workload was the most contributed factor for the job stress.
2.6. Conceptual framework.
We found that workload, role conflict, and role ambiguity is the cause of stress. And we found that hypothesis for this research influenced by, first, there is relationship between workload influence stress at workplace. The second one, there is relationship between conflict influence stress at workplace. And the third one, there is relationship between role ambiguity influence stress at workplace. And the last one, workload most influence stress at workplace.
Three point one. Research design.
My name is Muhammad Hazwanuddin bin Shawaluddin. Assalamualaikum. Hi, doctor and friends. This time I'm going to present to you the research design and also the population, the method we use in this research. For research design, we use quantitative approach. It is because the researcher had determined the relationship between the variables. The quantitative research approach is used when it is imperative to establish out the relationship between one thing as an independent variable and the other as a dependent or the outcome of the variable in the population. Quantitative research design is an outstanding way of analyzing results and proving or disapprove the hypothesis. Quantitative method emphasize objective measurement and thus the statistical, mathematical or numerical analysis of data collected through polls, questionnaires and surveys, or by manipulating pre-existing statistic data using computational technique. Quantitative research also focus on gathering numerical data and generalizing across groups of individuals or for a specific type of population. Alright, and also the correlational research care with establishing relationship between two or more variables, like we say, within the same population or between equivalent variable in two populations. And this study aims to determine which factor is mostly contribute to the relationship of workload and stress, also factors toward work stress.
3.2. Population.
For population, the population frame is a listing of all elements in the population which a sample is to be drawn. population refers to the entire group of people, event or thing of interest that the researcher wishes to investigate. The population also can be defined as all people or items, the unit of analysis, which the characteristics that one wishes to do a study, and the unit of analysis may be a person, a group, organization, a country or object, or any other entity that researcher wishes to draw on a specific reference about. The population in this study referred all levels of employee, the non-executive and executive, from a variety of organizations in Malaysia. The total population were 150 employees in this research using simple random sampling that can be used. The random sampling may be process utilized in research to draw a sample of population strictly accidentally, yielding no discernible pattern beyond chances. The sample is claimed to be random because there are no regular or the normal pattern. Random sample selection is used under the thought that sufficiently large sample assigned randomly will exhibit a distribution like the population from which the sample is to be drawn. In this research, simple random sampling was used because it signifies the whole population and covered different demographics which were needed. Moreover, it is unbiased selection and important to conclude from the result of the study.
3.3 Sampling Frame.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. My name is Nasha Shakina binti Rajuli, and today I would like to present our group assignment, which is in subject research method, with the proposal topic is the common factors of stress among Malaysian employee. And my part is in include chapter 3, which is sampling. Sampling frame is the list of the cases where the sample is taken. According to the Salkin in 2011, the sampling frame is the structure of the sample is a source or network for the sample to be taken from, and the sample is a population subgroup. The collection of sample will be population representative. Meanwhile, according to Malhotra and Peterson, cited by Kumar Ramendran and Yaakob in 2012, sampling framework requires a list or criteria for assessing the target population. And therefore, the sampling frame for our group research is we will select randomly the employees in Malaysia, and this response will obtain from Malaysian office staff. And this consists of 150 random respondents of employees in Malaysia in this analysis.
3.4 Sample Size.
In sample size, Craig and Morgan in 1970 have greatly simplified the size decision by providing a table to ensure a good decision-making model. And therefore, the sample size that we were using in our group research is based on Craig and Morgan 1970 tables, which is the following tables is as in follows in the slide. This is the table of Craig and Morgan sample size determination table. As we look in the slide, this table for determining sample size of a known population.
3.5 Sample Technique.
And the sample technique that we use for our group research is probability sampling methods, which is any sampling method that uses some form of random selection. Probability sampling will be done by a simple random sampling, which will select people at random and anyone in the sample will be selected. This simple random sampling involves selecting a sample based on the study criteria and from the survey. This research will also provide questionnaires for employees to help survey's findings to address workplace problems in terms of job stress. Random sampling evaluates the population that could be generalized in our research results. And in addition, in my opinion, this sampling method can be carried out easily, which is very fair and definitely unbiased.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nurul Hazi Shamira binti Muhammad Tahir. So, I will explain for 3.6 unit of analysis, 3.7 instrument, and last one is 3.8 reliability and validity.
3.6 Unit of Analysis.
Unit analysis can be referred to the level of aggregation of the data collected during the subsequent data analysis stage. We want to examine how many employees in Malaysia were influenced with workload conflict and role ambiguity towards stress at workplace. It will be consisting about 150 respondents that will pick randomly by difference of organization and company, that also difference in job level and characteristic.
3.7. Instrument.
For instrument, we will use a hard copy and online survey as method to collect the information and data for this research. For question A, we will use a set of nominal and ordinal scale. Furthermore, a quantitative research methodology will be used in this research. The question A will be separated into two parts. In part A contain about demographic database, while part B contain the research question that will separate into 3 sections. As you can see on the table now, we will be use a demographic questionnaire in part A for nominal scale. Next, for ordinal scale will be used for independent and dependent variable questionnaire in part B. Other than that, we will use a fixed alternative format with Likert scale to determine how strongly subjects agree or disagree towards the statement.
3.8. Reliability and validity.
Reliability and validity. For describing internal consistency, we will use a commonly accepted rule is by using a Cron-Batch alpha. Take a look at this.
3.9. Collection of data procedure.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Yusnor Fateh Sabia binti Sanusi. I will explain for 3.9 collection of data procedure and 3.10 plan of data analysis. For collection of data procedure, we use primary data collection. The data we collect through a set of questionnaire and we distribute personally to respondents. The respondents were given enough time to fill out the questionnaire without any interference. We will collect all complete set of questionnaire for further research analysis from the respondent involved in this study.
3.10. Plan of data analysis.
The table shows plan of data analysis. We will use Likert scale and percent correlation analysis to measure the relationship between the dependent and independent variable. The data was analyzed using SPSS to tabulate results and findings of our research. That's all. Thank you.
Take a breath and let it go until you're